All right, folks, Antigravity has officially announced the A1 drone. It is the world's first 8K 360-degree drone. Now, I know what you're going to say. There's been other 360-degree drones out there, and you'd be right. But this one is a world's first. It is different from anything else out there on the market, and that comes down to the FPV experience, which we'll get into in a moment. So the standout feature is, again, this is a 2-lens, 8K, 360-degree spherical drone. It's going to be an invisible drone. You're not going to see the drone in the recorded flight footage or on board while you're flying through the goggles. So you're going to have three things to really look at here. You've got the drone itself, you've got the grip controller, and the vision goggles. So the grip controller, it's a motion controller. It's very similar to like DJI's motion controller. It's got a very familiar feel if you've flown with that before. You squeeze the trigger to go forward. You raise your hand to go up. You can lower it to go down. There's some other buttons and ability to start, stop recording, do some various functions, and do some manual control over the camera movement or FPV, view within the 360-degree sphere. So it's very intuitive. I picked it up real quick, was comfortable with it. Let me just take a moment here and tell you what that experience was like. This is where it kind of blends elements of like VR and FPV. So when you have the goggles on, you basically have the freedom of motion with head tracking to use your head and look within the 360-degree view of the cameras. So you have complete visual control, no obstructions. So if you're flying along and you wonder what's below you, you can just move your head down and look without changing the path or the direction of the drone. The motion controller, where you move with your hands, if you want to go up, you go up. If you want to go down, you go down. You have that full control over the drone with your hands in the grip controller. And with the goggles, you have full freedom of motion to look around within the full 360-degree sphere, which is pretty incredible. One of the things I really disliked about early FPV systems was, especially if you wanted to go fast, you had that really high angle on the camera. So when the drone was flying fast forward, you could see forward. But then when it comes time to land, you need to flatten out the drone and slow down, and then the camera is just looking up at the sky, and that's your field of view, and you can't change that. Now there were some drones that had some servo controlled units for head tracking, or you could manually control off the radio and change the view. Kind of not a great experience. This is a great experience with the A1. So if you want to come in and land, you look down, you see exactly where you're going. Want to know if there's a tree next to you or an obstacle, you just look to the side, you can see everything. It's incredible. It's such a fun experience. It's different from anything else you've ever tried before, and it is fantastic. And then say you want to fly like a complicated maneuver, like maybe an orbit around a point. So you're looking at like a tree or a building or a car or something. You kind of just keep your head pointed at it, and then you have the controller, and then you can do it standing still, but I like to stand up, and then I'll rotate my body. So I'll physically move as I'm going, and it just allows you to create a perfect orbit. It was so easy to do. And that's kind of like mind-blowing when you realize how hard something like that used to be. That now it makes it, anybody can just do this in an instant and make it easy and make it look good. So it's pretty cool. So the motion controller, the grip controller they call it, we're going to get more details on all the functionality and what it can do later. But that's going to come with the drone. And then you've got the vision goggles. So these are pretty cool. They're comfortable. They're pretty small, pretty lightweight. And it's got, 2 eyepieces on the side. One of them is a touchscreen. So it's kind of how you can control, when it's on your face, you can control the menus, go through all the functions within the menus itself. So it's kind of a neat, interesting way. It's big. It's easy to find. It's like right in front of your face, so it's not like you're dealing with complicated little micro buttons or anything. It did have like IPD adjustments, so you can kind of see that in the photos. It's got little rotators, and then so you can kind of rotate for focus and for distance to kind of match your eyes and your distance and focal distance and all that stuff. So I think it's going to fit like a wide variety of people. And then it's got a an LED or LCD screen. I'm not sure, if it's OLED or LCD or what, but there's a screen on the other side. And it actually, while you're flying, shows the view of kind of where you're focused on. So it's not the full 360-degree image. It's more of just kind of a zoomed in view of kind of where the pilot is looking at. And, it's kind of cool. So if you're having spectators with you, they can kind of stand in front of you and watch your face and see kind of what you're seeing. So it's an interesting way to share. You might, if you're using it for maybe professional use, in certain cases, you might be able to use that as a client monitor so they can kind of see what you're seeing. I don't know if it's really useful for that or not, but it was cool to stand there and watch other pilots fly and be able to see what they're looking at. And it kind of like brings the experience away from a solo, lonely experience into now like you can have conversations with somebody standing in front of you about what you're looking at. Check out this thing on top of this roof, or look at this tree, or whatever. Like there's some interesting like community driven purpose behind that, which I think is kind of interesting. So any of the video footage you're going to see here is all from pre-production units. I don't think any of it was recorded in full 8K. I think it was 5.4K. So this is just example footage of the types of things you're going to be able to do with this. This isn't indicative of the actual quality that you're going to see in the production units. So just keep that in mind. But the experience, so there's kind of like two things with this drone, right? There's the flight experience and you actually using it for fun and flying around and just being able to look within your environment with the head tracking. There's that's one thing, like that alone is pretty cool by itself. And then there's what you can do with the footage afterwards. So now you all of a sudden have 8K 360-degree spherical video that you can then import into the app or the studio software that they're going to release. And now you can reframe your shots to 2D flat images to however you like. You're going to get really creative control over that, make it look like an FPV. You can make it look like a cinematic FPV shot. You have a lot of options. So you don't have to worry so much about framing your shot while you're flying. You just if you want to fly next to a mountain biker or a motocross guy doing some jumps, just fly the drone. You can kind of look at them while you're flying, but you don't have to worry about framing the shot for your output. There's so much just capability in this and what you can do, what you want to get out of it, what your creativity is going to be. So I'm super excited to see what you guys are going to be able to do with this drone. I'm super pumped to get a review unit, test it out, take it to Nashville, through the city, through some bridges, through some just fun little areas that are creative. Things that I can't do with traditional either FPV or cinematic drones. I'll be able to get shots with this that I can't get any other way. So I'm really looking forward to it. Super exciting. Again, the drone itself weighs 249 grams, so it's under that target weight for the US and a lot of countries for regulations. 8K 360-degree video in the production units. Now it's slated for global launch in January of 2026. So keep that in mind. We don't have pricing information yet. So that and regional availability, that'll all be available at a later time. But there is one cool thing that you guys are going to want to do right now. So they're inviting creators to apply for their co-creation project. So they're going to be offering early access of the drone for pre-production units. A chance for you to collab with Antigravity and make suggestions, and there's a chance to get in part of a $20,000 reward pool. So applications are open right now at antigravity.tech. So what do you guys think? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have questions for me, I've had some experience with this drone and gotten to fly it a couple different times. Let me know what questions you might have, what you're interested in learning or knowing more about this thing. I'll answer what I can, and look forward to sharing that with you guys. So until then, we'll see you next time. Have a good one.